pitching is that when you're standing out there in the mound and your ball is going, over the backstop, you need to know how to correct that. Or you need to, if the ball is going continually outside, even at 11 years old, the coach can't be with you all the time, right? So we have to try and develop some sort of, in my theory anyway, is develop an ownership for things and a self-correction. So that, wait a second, I've got to release the ball earlier because it's going over the backstop, or wait a second, that ball just flew outside that way. I had to be inside my power line, or if it's going that way, I was outside my power line. But it gives them maybe not a correction, but something to focus on to bring them back rather than just panicking.
Bruce, let's say, for example, you're working with, say, 10 to 12-year-olds, and you're warming them up throwing the ball, and they're throwing it all over them, in the dirt, over the head. Do you believe in introducing some consequences? Like, in other words, okay, everybody, stop the ball. No, without go through anymore. Everybody run around the diamond once, or give me 5 push-ups, or do you believe it? Do you think, or anybody for that matter? Thoughts on that?
Push-ups.
I don't
ban them.
No?
Ban them, midget.
Unless they're misbehaving and being goofy while they're doing it. Like they're intentionally throwing over people's heads, intentionally throwing in the pitch.
No, I don't think they're intentionally doing it. I just don't think they're full.
Yeah.
Certain times you get your team and they're just not focusing. You say, what is going on? Everybody stop there.
I think if you're at a competitive level, I think you have to have some sort of consequence. If they're house league 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, it's house league. But I think if you're into issues of doing provincials, wanting to go to Easterns or Nationals, I think there has to be that want to do it right, and if they're not doing it right, there are going to be consequences.
Okay.
In a house league environment, what I would try to do is maybe say, you know what, guys, let's play a game. Okay. Yeah. Let's say that we get 3 points for every ball that hits my partner's chest. We get 2 points. Say we get 2 points for a chest, 1 point for legs, and 3 points for every one that goes at their face. Keep score, and let's play that game instead.
Chris Jones said he did that national team.
Yeah.
Chris Jones, who played shortstop, he was in Coburg. He was saying that on Team Canada, every time they warmed up, they did that. Every missed throw, he got points or lost points.
With my house league team, which the boys were 9, 10, we played a game where they were paired up, and my assistant coaches would help me as judge. They would be just throwing back and forth. They'd have to make a good catch. They'd have to make a good throw. If the ball hit the ground, the coach had to decide whose fault it was. Was it you misplayed it on the catch or you misplayed it on the throw? Whoever got to the end got 5 points towards a Sunday.
Okay.
And you get through that once, and let's go again, coach. Let's go again. We're ready. Let's go again, coach.
I was going to say,
I recognize the competitive level is very different.
With rep athletes too, I think I think going back to the ownership thing.
Yeah.
I like before I start doing punishment, at least saying, look at folks, let's take a little bit of pride in what we're doing first, and see, put that back on them, then see how they respond to that first, and then say we'll go back to maybe doing something next.
Actually, Bruce, I really like your point about the autocorrect. It goes back to teaching them how to be softball players as opposed to robots. So what I do, for example, whether it's or throwing, if they do something incorrectly, then I ask them, or I let them know ahead of time. Guys, I'm going to be asking you, girls, I'm going to be asking you, what you think you did wrong. Because if you don't set them up for that, then the first time you ask them, what did you do wrong? They think they're getting in trouble, right? Yeah. So then I ask them, hey, what do you think you did wrong on that? And
we don't recognize that. You talk about how many actual plays you make in a game, and how it's impossible to teach children correctly in a game environment, that you have to do these things in practices. But there's a second side to that, and that is, I watched my daughter when she went and played with the boys after our little spring season ended. She was playing second base, and she's fielded, I don't know, in the course of the last three or four years, maybe 2,000 ground balls, and she can tell you exactly the body position you're supposed to be in to field a ground ball, right? And she knows it intimately. She's playing second base with the boys, and the first ball comes, and she goes, because in all the practices, it's difficult to create a game environment, where the ball comes off the bat after it's being pitched, and all the technique in the world is goes out the window, and you're going, ah! So it's a difficult scenario to look at, because because you really want to teach these kids proper technique, but that proper technique has to come through in games as well.
When I coached U14, I noticed the same thing. And when I did, I figured it out late, but I figured about halfway through the year that happened too. And I think the kids were scared when the runners came. So every time we practiced ground balls, I had a runner start from me to you away. So I'd hit a ground ball, the kid, I had the runner crash her. So I'd have the runner go in front of her, and then so the kid started, so the first they took their eyes off, watched the kid, the ball went through their legs. And then after, 400 or 500 times, they started to do it.
With kids, I just think it's panic. It's like 3 games. I haven't had a ground ball hit to me, and I play second base. This time I play third base. The ball comes off the angle at a different bat every time. I switch positions every single time. And how many times do you practice throwing? With kids, and you teach them how to throw, and that first girl gets that ball in the outfield, and she's running and throwing at the same time. And it's just we talked about this. It's just and you're going, when did we do the running throwing drill? It's tough to teach kids, but so what I'd suggest is trying to come up with your kids of some sort of some sort of plan with which they start a certain way, and this wrist snap is really a key to everything, and the amount of backspin that you can get, and the way that ball comes out of your hand fluidly rather than guided or aimed, right? So that's the place to start in both underhand and overhand, I would think. So step 2 is I would just, because you can't have 12 steps, because it gets boring as hell then too, right? So you have to cut things into an area that fits your athletes, their level and whatever. But my thought would be your second position is you start in your power position, but there's no stride. There's just a simple, easy toss like that. Making sure that you focus or that you keep them with a good trunk rotation and a good setup to start with a high elbow, and you go from there. The next part I put in is actually having them start in the power position, having them make their throw, but having the follow through come through. I'd certainly recommend that you bend your legs more than that guy did, but and you're in a better fielding position than he's in. But I'd have them step, come through, and be in a position that's ready as your third step. And then your fourth step would be you basically put it into dance, right? You put it all together with a step, up, power position, follow through. So that kind of concludes the presentation, but what's this guy doing wrong?
What's he doing wrong?
Yeah, he's doing something wrong there.
Signature representative.
It looks like the ball's coming behind him and he's too tall.
He's doing something wrong in that picture right there.
Is the ball behind his head over here?
Well, to me it's the stride.
Oh.
To me he's striding a little bit that way, but his target is straight this way.
Yeah.
So what he's doing is he's striding over that way, so when he throws he's got to come back too far and throw over top of his leg. Okay. So it affects his follow through and it affects his stride. Now he may be doing all the other things that you guys noticed correctly as well, but I didn't look at it quite that long.
When you caught, Bruce, how did you throw when you caught?
With this hand?
When I caught,
No, but did you stride? Is what I'm asking.
no, when I caught,
Yeah.
I threw it. Right.
So you generated power just by falling?
Yeah. Just by going forwards towards my target. I didn't think of it that way. When I caught, I was 260 pounds. For me to stand up was a chore, let alone stand up with any quickness, right? So it's like I just put a knee down and threw from there. But once again, that's if you're teaching catching, throwing. And I didn't research this. But,
Sorry.
So if I was teaching throwing, so that you want to make a movement, what you want to make sure and do is have your children moving towards their target, right? So your first step should be into that position right there. So your first step is a little bit forward, right? And to get you to this position here, right? Because I think all throws kind of come from there. So it would be forwards and quickly into this position to make the throw.
Like jumping on a skateboard.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Any questions? You're up.
Maybe like that one.
My turn.
Step. Then I throw that way.
That is.